John and Sarge here on the way to Charleston, South Carolina. Had a few good days staying there at that campsite there in Aberdeen, Mississippi. I didn't end up doing the storage locker thing that I had to take care of because the guy who was going to help me with that wasn't available. So anyway, I might just, go back and do that some other time. But I realized I was kind of behind my schedule for what I was, where I was going to try to go and stuff before going back up to Duluth. So anyway, so I decided, okay, yeah, I stayed in this area long. I mean, it was, you could say it was sort of a little bit, kind of along the way a little bit, right? So not, it's kind of like the long way to Charleston. But anyway, so even though I didn't get what I accomplished there. So anyway, yeah, I guess, we're just going to drive to Charleston. I guess it's about 8 hours. Pretty much drive straight through. We'll see. I mean, if there's anything worth stopping, I'll just try to do some clips along the way. So,
welcome to my mind. Welcome to the hidden highwayverse. Be a fortress of solitude where we will reason together and come up with new things. This is a new place that I've come up with using Noda on Metaquest VR, and it's a thing where just to add a little extra spice, make it a little more enjoyable, and add to the greater theme that I always wanted this channel to become, we're going to do more of add some interesting visuals to it, even using 3D. So I'm going to talk about my trip from Aberdeen, Mississippi to Charleston, South Carolina, going along this route here. Actually, let's get a little better shot of that real quick. All right, yeah, so you go through up through this area on Highway 22 to go through Birmingham. So it starts out kind of flat. You go through Birmingham and everything into the mountains here, and then you go through Atlanta, just the southern part of Atlanta, thankfully, and then through Augusta, and then down to these coastal plains. But anyway, one thing I want to note just from the beginning is this idea of having a schematic chart, okay? And this is the main schematic. Aberdeen, this place here, Twin, Alabama, this particular stop here, Birmingham, Atlanta, Augusta, South Carolina rest stop, and then South Carolina. So those are all the stops along my chart, done in more of a schematic thing, which is straight lines, which we're going to start doing on this channel just to kind of like show just different things, including over here what we call like the hidden highways. So these are different connections that are going on here. These two different things that I'm calling hidden highways, the blue one and then the yellow one, and then the different cities. So the idea is just to show things, how things are connected in these schematic charts, which we'll do. But we're also going to show regular maps as well. But this is our basis, so we're going to start here on our schematic chart on Aberdeen. And nice area. It's near Columbus Air Force Base and stuff. And I had some history back from that area. My dad used to live down that area. But you can just see, just from some of the clips we're going to show in the video here, that, there was a nice campsite that was just, I was the only one there. I've been there a couple times, but it was real peaceful. My dog just loved being there. It's just, I found like I was even able to do like some more like riding that I wasn't able to do before because I felt like, my mind was more relaxed than a lot of times it was,
Getting a good shot, waking up here in the morning here in Mississippi, getting a good shot of a woodpecker happily chipping away at this tree here to get the...
Okay, me and Sarge walked in the morning here, Mississippi, and anyway, fun buddy. There's lots of interesting smells in this area. Yeah, I think getting ready to make some coffee. Kind of like in this area here, where that arrow is, kind of like in this area. So it's in northeast Mississippi there. It's still like in what we'd call the coastal plains, like this big area along the United States that's mostly like more like sand and not rock, and the bedrock is really deep. We'll get more into that later on. But yeah, so it would have been in that area. Not too far when you start getting above what we call the fall line, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, where it becomes more hilly. But according to like a map like this, okay, like this Colin Woodward map, he gives like a map here showing the difference between the deep south and greater Appalachia. So basically the cotton culture versus more like the Scotch Irish, more like small-time farmer culture that went through the mountains. And so, but basically that, yeah, there should be some cultural differences going on there. And you can see that there's even the genetic lines go pretty wide. You can see there's like a split between from the original 13 colonies, that most of this group here, mostly have genetics going back to this part of the original 13, and then this other purple. So it's not too far from the dividing line there between the Appalachian culture and this deep South culture. A lot of people they don't put a difference between the two, but you really should, like this book here, this Colin Woodard's American Nations, he really talks about that. And you can see like why this particular area, so this shows basically the extent of where you can see like the areas that were more heavily more cotton farming were more likely to be like the deep South culture. But you can see there's a particular area there with, along here where there's a whole bunch of plantations, and that's because there's this ring that goes along here, this light green color. They call it the black belt or the lime belt. Okay, so it's kind of interesting. Sometimes it's called the black belt because of the black soil, and sometimes it's called the black belt because that black soil led to there being lots of plantations and there being a lot of black people there even to this day. You can see here's a racial dot map, and you can see the green part here and then across here, but that's to this very day, even after all the migration that happened north and everything, there's still like a very prominent African-American population in that area. Aberdeen's on the Tom Bigby Waterway. Part of this at the top was dug artificially, and then there was like the original river. And so it does allow like a shortcut where barges to get down to the Gulf of Mexico don't have to go through all the way around down to like New Orleans and stuff like that. And it does allow for like a nice waterway, which you can see right here, this picture right here. Okay, so here we are. Here's the main channel, the Tom Bigby Waterway, which is a navigable river that goes up from like the Tennessee River and goes, all the way down to Mobile, Alabama. And I think it was supposed to be in competition to the Mississippi in a lot of ways, but then it was, it ended up being one of those things where they spent a lot of money on, but it never ended up generating the money like they thought. But it, created a nice wide river with, they widened the original river, and it's a lot deeper than the original river, and there's locking dams and stuff. And let's see, there's a big sand cliff over there. You can see this all being, there's no natural rock in this area as far as I know. Obviously this is brought in. Sarge is all happy laying, chewing on his bone there in the leaves there. It's nice out, it's a nice temperature and everything, and there's it's not buggy or anything, anyway. All right, so the next thing we want to notice here is the deep app line, I'm calling it here, which basically corresponds to the state line here of Mississippi and Alabama. Again, I'm sure this is pretty arbitrary, but on this map here, he shows, that deep red is the deep South. So technically, according to him, when I crossed that line, I was now no longer the deep South all the way until I came to, and this is also just a schematic line too. It's not like, don't take it too literally, but so the deep up to basically to about Atlanta. We'll say after Atlanta, you're basically more to like the deep South culture, more or less, so.
This is western Alabama right now. You're like up the middle of the state, not too far from the Mississippi border. Yeah, you can just see it's just pretty hilly right now at this point. I can't remember if we used to come out here in this area back when my dad used to live down here. We probably did, but yeah, it's kind of nice, wooded, kind of peaceful through here.
Just go now to Twin, Alabama, which is approximately where the fall line is. It's the same fall line that we've always heard about, that goes basically up the whole East Coast, although maybe it has different meanings at different places. You can see the different cities along here. Now, it's basically the place where you go from like this sandy soil down here, to like this hard rock, basically. And it basically goes all the way to Texas, and it's actually really important. There's something here called the Balcones Escarpment, but maybe we won't get into that in this video. But anyway, it's an important thing. Basically, it's the ancient, you can just think of it, the line of the ancient shoreline all along here. Now, like, okay, let's just say on the East Coast here, okay, it's the deepest. There, the figure that there's going to be tides and probably ocean-going ships could basically go to about any of these ports like Richmond, and be the furthest inland that a ship could go. But also, it would be the first place where you could have like water wheels there, because there's a big drop. But also, the tide would go up to there, so that'd probably be the first place you get fresh water. Now, in some of these other places, the tide doesn't go as high and the shipping doesn't go, but a lot of times there is let's just say there's a significance along this fall line in a lot of places, but it's not the same as like out here, but it's a very important source for water. But anyway, so fall line, yeah, it's where it basically, for a big stretch, where the rock and the hills begin across the USA. For these videos, whenever we see like the hidden highways, this is important, because we're going to go over to this other board and just look at a specific hidden highway here, the fall line. It's going to be the first big one that we officially announce. Now, sometimes hidden highways are going to be these geological things, and sometimes they might be on this channel like a conceptual thing too. So, but as far as like this type of hidden highway, okay, so you see the fall line. And if you could actually memorize this chart, that would give you a good idea for what's going on in America, because you think in some ways, whether you're in San Antonio, Austin, Waco, Fort Worth, Little Rock, Arkansas, Scott City, Missouri, Paducah, Twin, Alabama, Columbus, Georgia, Augusta, or a lot of these East Coast cities, you're kind of on a similar thing, the place where kind of like the uplands begin. And now sometimes in a lot of places, it's actually a cultural boundary too, where there's some place like this line between the Appalachian here and then between Appalachian, in some places there is not. It's not that, but you can look for it being a cultural divide in places. It's probably going to be a historic thing. And I was finding out today that I was finding out like the Dallas-Fort Worth area, that it's in this area. So you have Fort Worth, it actually goes through Fort Worth. So it's actually, I guess, it goes between Dallas and Fort Worth. Okay, that's how, maybe I'll have to change that later on. But anyway, and so what was I going to say? Okay, so once you get past that into Fort Worth from Dallas, then it becomes more rocky, and that's a place where people could start finding rocks and stuff. And it was more like a cowboy area, where that Dallas was more like on that blue area there. You can't see it on this map, but that blue area there, that rich limestone. So there was more like cotton farming down there. So there's a big divide there, So you can just think about it. Just anytime you look for this fall line, there might be a division. It might be different, but it's something to realize anytime you're on this fall line. It's one of the greatest division things in the U.S. Maybe not the division bell, but the division line, So let's see. You got city placement along the fall line there. Yeah, the same map we showed before. Here's the one in Alabama. You can see it kind of, someplace they do it kind of jagged because it's kind of hard to tell exactly where you would say. So there's not really a sharp, like big waterfall, but in some ways, it is part of the same thing. Oh, the other thing too, and it connects with this, it's Scott City, Missouri. That's the closest city to where that fall line is, which is basically going down Highway 55 along the river there, which is what I consider to be a second hidden highway, which we're going to talk about more on a different video. In fact, we're probably going to maybe get fall line and this river karst away its own video here from the beginning of the rock here and then all the way up to St. Paul, and staying as close to the Mississippi River as you can. Most of the place most of the time it's going to be on the west side. It's definitely Highway 55, then Highway 61 going up. Okay, here's the karst map here, and you can see black is the carbonate here, sediment. There's a lot of the St. Peter sandstone along the whole thing. But yeah, that's definitely another highway that's interesting to learn as you go across the country. Yeah, and sub to this channel. I'm going to keep, as long as this concept's doing well, I'm going to keep adding to this chart, and eventually I'll have a really cool looking chart, where I'm going to come up. Some of these are maybe ones that I didn't really invent myself, like the fall line, but maybe I was the first one to call it a hidden highway on here. And some of them might just be ones I just pretty much just call this river karst way. But a lot of times they're going to coincide. Like you can say this is just the Great River Road, but and for this one, I'm going to say that's a little more meaningful than just saying like the Great River Road, So let's go back over here for a second. So anyway, so once you get past on our trip here, so you see that, and this is just a schematic thing. At some points, the fall line, a lot of times it's deep, this deep app line, which is the deep south Appalachian line. A lot of times it's pretty close to the fall line. Sometimes it's not. I'm kind of showing how it dips down. So basically, we're in the fall line area, I guess. No, I don't know if you can exactly say that. Okay, so there's a section here where we're out of the deep south, but we're not into the fall line area yet. We're not into the hard rock yet. And then we're in the hard rock here. And then anyway, all right, let's just get out of that. Just enjoy that chart. Just see what I mean. Okay. This is a schematic chart, just to make it kind of easier to think about this stuff. It's like it has a benefit of being more abstract than like a curved line. But anyway, all right. So now we made it to Twin. Okay, we already did that Twin, and now 4 we're about halfway through on the way to Birmingham. But actually, I guess we already showed these maps. So we're getting into this high stuff, and I'm not going to go too much into complications, just like it's more harder, older rock and stuff like that. And there's supposed to be coal in it too, but I might go more into actual geology at some point. But yeah, here's that area. Oh yeah, here's a mining thing. You can see all the different mining that's done across gold, just about sand. See, every one of those colors is like a different, like across the USA is like a different age rock. And you can see that it's kind of out west. It's kind of, I don't know, there's a lot of weird stuff that happened to me where there's different types of age rocks. And then, in a lot of places in the Midwest, you will see here, there's large sections that are all like the same age, like up here, right here at Birmingham, all these different rocks were squashed together. And because of that, it's was a great place to have a city based on mining and making steel.
Gonna do some filming coming into Birmingham. That it's supposed to be like a dramatic place of geologic change where the layers got squashed together or something. I don't know. There's coal and stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna be stopping at someplace with some geologic significance too. But there's supposed to be like this red cut coming into town that's supposed to be like really good, but apparently there's not much as far as like a place to view it. But well, there's one place hopefully I will be able to. Now I'm seeing there's some. So we're out of like that other day when I was just more like in that unconsolidated dirt area of Mississippi. Now we're into some places with some real like bedrock geology and stuff here. Approaching Birmingham. Sarge here. We're gonna get to stop at a park, which will probably be good for me geologically and maybe him good as far as poopologically, right, buddy? All right. So I'm doing a little bit of like talking to the AI, hopefully getting some good answers along the trip here about the geology along the route. And let's see. One thing, what they say, it's like, okay, there's a place like in Birmingham where there's like limestone, coal, and iron ore. It's one of the few places where they're that close together, and that was because you need those three things for making steel, and that is kind of like what built Birmingham, the minerals here. And there's supposed to be like some of these rocks here, there's places where you can see coal, but I don't know, I haven't seen it yet, so anyway, but probably have to stop.
Okay, now that brings us to Birmingham itself. Let's see, Birmingham region. Okay, you got the mines. It shows like the different iron mines and stuff. They call this Ridge and Valley area, I think, right, where it's got the different, like there's an area in Pennsylvania like that where there's all, then, okay, here's that Iron Man statue at the top of this Vulcan Park. Here's going up the stairs here. Okay, here's actually where in the city this actually was. And then let's see, okay, this is from the air from Google Maps. And then, okay, this is climbing up. And then this is, a little mineral railroad trestle. Yeah, they got a thing to that. And then, okay, then here's the actual overlook of the town. Okay, and then so yeah, Birmingham. I didn't stop that long, but it was pretty cool. And then got a good walk around. And it's a free park, but you can pay to go up in it. But I didn't think that you would see much more just going by just like Anyway.
Okay, getting closer to the park or whatever. Okay, yeah, just take a look. It's like this road here goes through like kind of like the heart of like the the real hilly heights of Birmingham here. Really, okay, yeah, here's some big rock cuts here. Okay, yeah, you can see, well, there's some nice ones.
Take the exit toward 21st Avenue.
It's nice. For fans of, you can see lots of water flowing out of it. Okay, so it looks like we're in the right area.
In 800 feet, turn right onto 21st Avenue South.
Okay, me and Sarge here at this Vulcan Park here that's up on the ridge here. I'm presuming it is. I think it is. You can't really see it yet, but anyway. And okay, so there's this tower that you could pay to go up into, and also I don't know. I guess you got to pay for the museum too. Okay, so it's like $8. That's not bad. I might come back. What I might just do is walk him and then come back and see it and go in the museum is what I'll do. Okay, oh, here we go. Here's a big overview of the city. Go there. Take a look at this real quick. Okay, so there's this big railroad that went through here. Oh, they're saying that. Okay, that was part of like the real important railroad that took like iron through the thing, Took the iron through the city. So I've got a professional filming going on up here. Okay, so I think we're gonna head toward South Carolina via Atlanta. That's Archie. Okay, we're gonna start back on the road.
All right, then you got Atlanta here, which I didn't really stop there, but okay, it was along the end of this deep app line, or how to call it. Okay, and then Augusta, Georgia, and then I took some. Basically, I didn't really do much else stopping the day until I got to that South Carolina rest area. You can see my dog was happy. I had my little camper set up where I cook steam, and I'm just happy doing that, kind of like a modified van life stuff.
Me and Sarge on the way to an area near Charleston, South Carolina tonight. You know, a camp that's close to it anyway. Tonight, we'll see if we actually make it there. I think we'll probably make it there tonight. Anyway, but right now there's a rest area that's kind of like on the way to Marietta, Georgia, and it's kind of like for a while I started wondering if like Georgia actually had any rest areas because we were through such a long period of time. You know, that I finally had to like just stop someplace where, you know, on one of these ramps, like, you know, on ramps where it actually said you weren't supposed to park. But anyway, but this was a nice rest area here. I just took him on a nice walk up there on that hill. It's actually kind of an interesting hill. It's kind of like made of this kind of like, since I've been always trying to focus on geology here. It's like this hill's made of like this rock. It's like the sand, kind of like this crumbly sandstone.
And then I went down to Charleston here, and this is from the first day. My dog just loved being at the beach here. This was actually Folly Beach. Anyway. Oh, man, my owner had been gone from Minnesota for like a month, and I didn't even know. It's a distant memory. Every once in a while I'd smell something. I'd wonder if I'd see those dogs in Minnesota again, you know, that place. But I was in St. Louis for a while. Then we had been like in this truck at this point, like a week. And I'm like, what the heck? But, you know, it's with my owner. So I could just cuddle. I just kind of squeezed in with him in the blankets and so forth. So, you know, so it's always fun. My owner, John, I like to call him Dad. Anyway, so this is actually now over in South Carolina. This is my very first time at an ocean beach. I mean, we have a beach up in Duluth, Minnesota. It's a freshwater beach. You could drink that water, but I didn't realize all that. Well, anyway, I might be going a little far beyond, but just somehow I knew I shouldn't go for that, you know, water. So I actually didn't even go toward. You know, well, you'll see in a second, guys. But I realized, you know, I had the instinct not to try to drink that water there, you know. So anyway, so here I am.
Okay, buddy.
Ooh, yeah, not bad. Ooh, smells a little different then. Lots of more interesting smells at these saltwater places, I gotta say.
Some shells there.
Let's just look at the whole thing. Let's just get a good clip of the whole thing here. Okay, let's just do a side view of this one. Yeah, so anyway, the hidden highways make traveling more fun. Join the Hidden Highways. Subscribe today.